Welcome back to another episode of the Cycle Podcast, a show where we cover 4 trending MLB topics in 20 minutes or less. Joining me, as always, is my co-host, Josh, a.k.a. Kablumski. How you doing today, brother?
I'm good. Happy to be back. Let's get after it, baby.
Absolutely. And we do have some cycle news. I will be getting married on Sunday. I am leaving for Italy that following Wednesday. So hold the claps. There's bad news.
Oh, no.
This will be my last episode before the MLB playoffs begins. We are going to have one I know, but this is good for you. We will have Josh hosting one episode while I'm away, featuring either Caleb or our producer Alex as the co-host. So stay tuned for that. I will be back for the playoffs. So when the action really heats up, I'm just taking a little week away with my bride, spend a nice honeymoon outside, see the world a little bit, and then I'll be returning. So don't miss me too much. Josh is going to be holding it down. Without further ado, let's get into our first topic. Our first topic today is going to be covering the playoff matchup I believe a lot of people want to see, but of all the possible outcomes, this is the one I too want to see the most. As the playoffs currently stand, in the NLCS, we could get a matchup between the Los Angeles Dodgers and the Milwaukee Brewers. Now, this is one of the more interesting matchups I've seen, and I put together a lot of comparisons of different teams, and this is the one where there's just an incredible dichotomy of one team who hits the shit out of the ball with a huge payroll and one team who does a lot of the little things well with a ton of great role players and some emerging stars I think a lot of us want to see play. The Dodgers are number 2 in home runs. Milwaukee is number 20 in home runs. Milwaukee is number 2 in stolen bases. The Dodgers are number 20 in stolen bases. So you've got a team who hits a ton of home runs and another team that steals a ton of bases, runs a base as well. Now, this is where I think it gets interesting. Milwaukee has a run differential of plus 173, meaning they've scored 173 more runs than they've allowed. The Dodgers, despite all that power in their offense, is plus 126. So Milwaukee, arguably a better overall defense. Now, the thing that I think could really swing this playoff matchup is Milwaukee's number 2 overall team ERA versus the Dodgers' number 18. So below average pitching staff for the Dodgers. Despite a lot of injuries here and there, they could be a little better come the playoffs, but it's just kind of a cool matchup. Like I said, a team that hits a ton of home runs with a ton of expensive players. Milwaukee, who's been without Jackson Chourio for big parts of this year, still scoring a ton of runs, hot as heck, and doing it in sort of an old school way. High average, stealing bases, taking extra bases, smart base running, situational play, moving runners over, sacrificing. All those things that we saw with a team like my 2015 Kansas City Royals. Could Milwaukee put together another run like that? And Josh, what would interest you about this matchup in the National League Championship Series?
First of all, that's a great matchup on many different levels. Sorry, lost for words here as I'm looking through my notes. What stands out to me is the ERAs. You mentioned the Brewers were second in ERA, whereas the Dodgers were 18th, correct? Mm-hmm. That goes. Listen, I hate to beat a dead horse, but dead horse here, but that's the catching situation. When you talk about Contreras back there, he's controlling the pitching staff. He knows the ins and outs of his pitching staff, and he's utilizing that to his ability and his benefit throughout the whole game.
Hold on, wait. Are you about to say something bad about Will Smith?
You know I don't like Will Smith. But you know what though? And he's a functional player. It's just that when you look at that number, the number can be a little bit misconstrued. Just because, like you mentioned, there's a lot of injuries that the Dodgers had to go through this year. So that number can be fluctuated up and down. But Will Smith, and the difference between Will Smith and Contreras is that, Contreras is controlling what he has. Will Smith, I get it. He's doing what he can with his pitching stuff, but it's not getting above and beyond. Another great point that you brought up, which I freaking love on a coaching aspect of it, is the small ball. This game has lost the aspect of the small ball. Everybody's trying to hit the ball with exit velo, the launch angle, and that's all cool. That's all gravy. Moneyball was a big proponent of that, and it kind of changed the game for the better with analytics and things of that nature. But at the end of the day, small ball will always prevail. Bunting will always prevail. Putting pressure when pressure situations are not there, still providing that pressure is still going to make wins and losses happen. So the fact that the Brewers are bringing that type of game back into our game of baseball is just huge for me, and it's great to see for me, because as I teach these young kids in the next generation of baseball players how to bunt or how to situational hit when players are on base, it's good to see that a team is actually still doing that. And like you mentioned too, your 2015 Royals, it's a proven concept that you can still win while doing that. It's not about just getting to the top and maybe falling short. No, a team has already done it. It's been proven commodity. So the fact that you brought up the small ball game, I absolutely adore you for that, because it's something that our listeners, especially the young listeners, any baseball players that are out there, we got to understand that a small ball is a big, big part of our game. And we need to not only bring that back, but executing it is something that we need to really progress this game forward.
Because not everyone can learn how to hit a ball 485 feet. Everybody can learn how to hit a sac fly. Everybody can learn how to hit a ground ball through a hole.
It's between the ears. It's between the ears where the game is won. I've preached that from the time that I've started coaching, and I will preach that to the time I go blue in the face. Between the ears will beat talent anytime, any place. Is if you know what you are doing, even if the whole stands knows that you are about to bunt, you still get the bunt down and execute it, because you never know what can happen. Between the ears separates talent.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree with you more, my friend. With that, let's move on to our second topic. Our second topic is going to be just a little tidbit about the future of the league. Obviously, a sport that both Josh and I love so much for different reasons. I'm strictly obsessive fandom. Josh, Division I baseball, coaching, and now, I believe, working with the USA national team in some aspect. We'll touch on that in the outro. You can give your a little intro to what's going on with you. But as someone who wants to see the MLB thrive going forward, I looked up a few points on the MLB as far as fandom. This season, record revenue and attendance from the MLB. The 2024 World Series was the highest viewership since 2017, most likely in large part to it being the Dodgers and the Yankees, Judge and Ohtani, so much star power in that series. And we need that every few years, as much as you hate to see it. This is interesting. As people in the NFL fandom continue to complain about streaming and the need for 17 different streaming platforms, plus the MLB or the NFL network, plus the NFL package, all to watch the NFL. The MLB streaming service, MLB.TV, is up 27% since last year. One of the largest growths of any streaming platform across any sport, across anything. That's including Hulu, Netflix. MLB streaming is doing very well. They're working on fixing some of the blackout situations as they shuffle around TV rights. So that may be another bonus in the future. The average age of an MLB fan is declining. It was in the 60s. Now it's at 57, meaning older people are still watching, but more younger people are also tuning in. The stat that concerned me, and the stat that I wanted, or the point I want to turn over to you, youth participation in baseball is down. So while the MLB is doing great right now, a decline in youth at the younger levels, dropping over the past few years, is concerning in that we're not producing enough new fans and perhaps not producing enough young players as kids turn to soccer, as kids play basketball. Even football is declining. So where are the issues in youth baseball? I'm sure you're going to talk about some of the travel, some of the expenses, things like that. But as someone who coaches the high school level and you're watching baseball at levels lower than that, what can the MLB do, or what can baseball as a whole do to bring more kids in, and what are the issues?
Well, I don't know if it's so much what can the MLB do. I think they're doing a good job. First of all, I want to touch on the point with your MLB TV take. They got to figure it out. That platform is awesome. I think other sports need to gravitate to what they're doing over there, because having that platform is awesome and on many levels. What stands out to me, though, when you talk about the young and the youth of the future generation of the sport, as I'm seeing it from where I'm at, it's a few things. I think it starts off with the parents. Parents, the reason why I say parents is because you have the parents that are trying to live through their kids. All right. You have those type of parents that are, forcing the kids to do what they quote unquote wanted to do or did back in the day, what they could have done better. And they're living through the kids. At the same time, parents need to realize, be parents, let coaches coach. And they're driving their kids away from the game that they originally loved to play in T-ball, fun, hanging out with the kids, whatever. They're driving them away because it's more of a job. Nobody wants a job at 8 years old, 9 years old, nor should that be a thing. Okay. 9 years old, 8 years old, even if you're traveling or playing travel ball, the extent of it should be a few games. That brings me to my next point, is the burnout situation. Some people say there's no such thing as being burnt out. I disagree. I was one of those players that I wanted to say that I was kind of burnt out in a sense, but it was more of the longevity of how long I played and the amount I played in a short period of time. I mean, you're talking about, okay, for instance, myself, as you know, I'm a catcher, and catchers in general, when you play at a catcher position, you might play, 2 games over the weekend or maybe 2 games during the week. During travel ball, you're catching 5 games almost a day. And in Florida, that's not good. I don't care how good of a catcher you are. I don't care how good of a player you are. Nobody should be playing the same position 5 times in a row and thinking that you're going to get better. As you progress in the sport, in any sport, when you start to overanalyze things and overdo things, you're going to start making mistakes that are going to falter. The last moment, I know we're cutting close on time. The last point before, because I can go on and on about this, by the way, but the last point is the finances. The finances you touched on a little bit. You're talking about almost 2 to 3 grand for a kid that at 10 years old to play between 2 to 3 months out the year. That is crazy to me. That is insane. That first of all, the charges of that, whatever happened to playing for $150, get 1 jersey, 2 jerseys, and let's go out and play. Yes, I understand tournaments cost, umpires cost, coaches need money. I get all that. But the fact that these kids are paying 2 to 3 grand for 2 to 3 months out the year is absolutely insane. And not to mention, that is not your priority or not your priority team to be playing on anyway. When you're trying to get to the next level, you're talking about high school, things of that nature. You're spending that much money to play a few games during a course of a few months, and then you're not progressing, and it's hurting you when you come see me or somebody else at the high school ranks. Like I said, I can go on and on about this, but those are the 3 main points that I really want to bring home to our viewers and listeners. That's something that we need to reevaluate ourselves, either as parents, coaches, or just somebody that's supporting the game in general.
Well, see, you're the expert on that one, Josh. So I appreciate you touching on that. Make great points. And with that, let's go ahead and move on. Maybe we'll come back to that at another time later in the season.
Yes, please.
All right, 11. Our next topic is going to be on the most consequential matchup we have coming up this weekend. My team is all but out of it. Josh, your team's all but out of it.
Yeah.
A lot of people watching the show are in the same boat. So if you still want to get your daily dose of baseball, maybe wean yourself off the game as the season comes to an end. I know I've gotten used to watching baseball every night, and with the way the Royals have been playing and the wedding coming up, I've been missing baseball. I've been missing a lot of games. The Astros and Mariners this weekend. We have 2 teams with 82 wins. Both teams currently winning tonight as we're talking. Seattle is half a game up. Seattle 9-1 in their last 10. Houston 5-5 in their last 10. 3 games up on Cleveland and Texas in the wild card. Of course, Houston is playing Texas right now. Cleveland has Minnesota, Detroit, and Texas. Seattle sees Texas one more time. Now, this is going to be a series that could decide the AL West. This is a series that could decide which of those AL West teams are going to win the division. And then now the loser of that series, hypothetically, is going to be in a battle with Texas for one of the wild card spots. So the Mariners are a team we've been sort of pseudo fans of all year because of Cal Raleigh. We love George Kirby. We love Logan Gilbert. We love Luis Castillo. We love Brian Wu. Just a stupid deep pitching staff, dude. Andres Munoz on the back end. Guys like your boy, Randy Arozarena. I think they're an exciting, fun young team. Of course, J.P. Crawford and Jorge Polanco, two of my all-time favorite players. With this hot streak they're on, we talked a few weeks ago about the Astros and how that sort of playoff pedigree plays into these kind of playoff atmosphere type of series. Series where it's back against the wall, do or die. Either you're winning the division or you're going in as a wild card.
Right.
Teams like the Astros, unfortunately, seem to find a way to prevail in these series. I would not at all be shocked if the Astros swept this series.
Yeah.
I would also not at all be shocked if it was a very close 2-1 or 1-2 type of series between them for 3 games. I, however, am going to go with my gut. I'm drinking that Kool-Aid again, baby. Every year I say it's Seattle's year, and I'm not hopping off the train until it is. I'm going to take them 2-1 over the Astros. I see them leaving that series. Of course, they have another game or 2 more games with the Royals. Right. I see them leaving that series 2 full games up on the Astros. I see Houston leaving that series about a game ahead of Texas. And I see Cleveland being in the mix still because I see Cleveland taking down Minnesota in their next series. Right. Josh, of those teams, Astros and Mariners, who wins the AL West? Mariners, hold on. Whichever team you don't choose. So if you choose the Mariners to win the AL West, Astros, Cleveland, Texas, who takes that last wild card spot?
That's a tough one. Obviously,
that's the point.
I'm agreeing with you as far as who's taking it. It's obviously going to be Seattle. And I think you're right. I think that the Astros made some key changes and or acquisitions to their team to get them over the bump, and not on a physicality level. I think it's more on a clubhouse level. When you're talking about bringing Correa back and getting them back into that championship mentality over there in Houston, I think that plays a big role that nobody really wants to talk about, because that gets your clubhouse all in sync. It gets the people that are getting rattled and or nervous for these big time games. Because guys, this is playoff time. This might be still regular season, but this series is a playoff series. Don't get it twisted. It may be a regular season, but this is going to be something that when playoff time comes, these are playoff
tune-ups,
series.
Warm-ups,
Tune-ups that we're talking. Exactly. So the mentality starts now. The way you build up momentum starts now. The reason why we both are picking Seattle to win is because that momentum has already been started for them. They've been on this win streak for a while. Their pitching staff is somewhat healthy, if not all healthy. And you're talking about the MVP, in my eyes, the big dumper controlling that pitching staff. So all that plays a factor. But going back to the Astros, they're not far behind. When I say not far behind, I'm not even talking about the wins, losses, stuff like that. I'm just talking about the culture and what they need to do to get to the next level, so that way when October comes, they are hitting the ground running, not trying to figure out who needs to be in the pitching staff and who doesn't. They're getting the right pieces now to further their chances, so when October comes, they're in the mix.
So are you taking Seattle to win and Astros for playoffs?
Correct.
For the wild card. God, I hate you.
I know. I hate saying the Astros too like that. I hate talking good about the Astros, really.
I would love to see Cleveland, because once the Royals go out of it, I tend to start rooting for the other teams in our division who I normally hate. But
I will say this real quick. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. The fact that you're talking about 2 big arms missing in Cleveland in the back end of the rotation, I think that was the Achilles heel for them this year.
Absolutely. Yeah. Clase and Luis Garcia still figuring things out with this gambling investigation I'm not even sure exists. So with that, let's move on to our last topic.
Let's do it.
Of course, as we round tonight's episode out, we're going to answer the question that's on everyone's mind. Josh, what's that question?
Who's hot?
I like that. We need to keep doing that. There's one guy who's hot. And every week, we go back and forth. There are weeks we have 6 guys we debate with before the episode. Some weeks it's you've got one surefire, I got one surefire. I think this is our first week with one. There's one guy who's hot, and his name is Mookie Betts, a guy who has been trashed. Mookie's done. Mookie's over. Mookie's his prime is closed. He just kicked that door back open. His prime is still here. In his last 13 games, Mookie Betts has 5 home runs, 10 runs scored, 19 RBIs, a 6.6% K rate.
Yes.
Mookie is the piece on that team that the Dodgers can't win the World Series without contributions from Mookie Betts.
Correct.
Even if it's just an occasional big hit, a big momentum swing, because seeing a leader on your team and a future Hall of Famer showing up when the lights are the brightest, when the moment is the biggest, I think that just pumps up a team, pumps up a fan base. And the fans in LA, they want Mookie to succeed. One, because they love Mookie Betts. Everyone loves Mookie Betts.
Everybody.
2, because they know as Mookie, Freddie, and Shohei go, the whole team goes. So it's big for him to heat up right now.
Huge.
You're a Mookie guy. You're a baseball player. What does it mean when one of the leaders on your team, like I said, really starts to heat up, especially going down the stretch of the season, giving a glimpse of what he could provide in the playoffs?
It's not even about that. It's about where he came from. You mentioned it earlier. He was trash earlier. Very like Rafael Devers at the beginning of the year. Oh, this guy's trash. This guy's trash. Whatever. And he and everybody just kind of stuck with him. He's such a the guy is a pure athlete, by the way, can play any sport. But back to baseball, it carries the locker room. I mentioned in the last clip about the locker room, especially in this time of year, guys. Whenever you have your captain, your leader, the guy that you are looking up to, when he puts up his britches and puts his work boots on, you know that it's time to go to work and you want to follow your leader into battle, into war. It's hard to do that when A, your leader doesn't have his boots on, or B, your leader is not producing in the war atmosphere. You know what I mean? So the fact that he is not only, living up to his hype and to his standard, it's also elevating the whole team as a whole. And to elevate that type of team and that roster is something scary that the MLB needs to watch out for, because once all those cylinders start clicking and start riding the coattails of, like you mentioned, the Freddie Freemans of the world and the Mookie Betts of the world and Shohei Ohtani, is something that we got to watch out for Major League Baseball.
Because, how do you, when you look at that Dodgers roster,
right?
You've got guys like Max Muncy, your boy Will Smith, Andy Pages, but then you've got a top of the order of any combination of Mookie, Freddie, and Shohei. Then you got to still go through Max Muncy. You still got to go through Teoscar Hernandez. You've still got to go through Andy Pages. All these guys. Tommy Edman at times when he's hot. For a while, Mookie Betts was sort of a soft spot in that lineup. When he's hot, there is no soft spot. There's nobody where you can say, all right, let's get to Mookie because he's, in a slump. Let's get through him and get out of the inning. Now you say, who do you pitch around? Who do you pitch to? When there's runners on base, strategy's out the window because you can't walk somebody to get to Max Muncy. You're not going to walk Freddie Freeman to get to Shohei, and now you're not going to walk Shohei to get to Mookie.
Right.
It's a scary roster, and it's a roster that only the Milwaukee Brewers can stop.
I like
and
what
with
you did
that,
there.
tying it all back together.
Yes.
With that, let's end this session. We went over a few topics. Josh, I want to give you a little bit of time. Talk about what's going on in your life, because as a friend, you're proud of me for getting married, and I am extremely proud of you for what you've got going on.
Yes.
One of my best friends, Joshua Velez. Talk.
Yes. So first things first, this is not about me right now. This is about you. I want to give you, first of all, congratulations, early congratulations on your wedding. I hope you have nothing but blessings from here on out with you and Bree, nothing but happiness, the whole nine. I hope you guys have a great wedding. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be there due to what I'm going to talk about later, but please, please, please enjoy this time. Enjoy this time with her solo as you guys go on your honeymoon. Really reconnect, really get down to the foundation of what got you guys here and what got you guys married, and clearly bring that home and live forward with that. You guys got a beautiful family, beautiful kids, and know it's not going to be easy. As you know, you guys been together for a while, but one advice that I would say from one married man to a future married man is don't go to sleep mad at your wife. Always, no matter how bad you guys were mad at each other, still somehow annoy her and tell her that you love her or something like that. do not go to sleep mad at each other. So that's my little tidbit for that. But
You're
the reason why
talk baseball. Baseball.
That's from the heart. That's from the heart. So baseball now, I'm sorry. Yes, I got a very fortunate opportunity that was a tough pill to swallow because I'm going to be missing my good friend's wedding. But it was an opportunity that you understand, as my family understands, that's going to possibly propel my coaching career and or career in general forward. I'm going to have the opportunity to coach the top talented baseball players in the state of Florida, mostly seniors that are already committed to top D1 programs that are trying to get on the MLB circuit. We're going to be doing what's called a Team Florida USA Showcase over this weekend. It's going to be a 4 to 5 day week event. We're going to be playing the top talent in the rest of the nation and really starting to put those pieces out there for display in the showcase. I'm just a pond in this whole masterpiece that they got brewing over there with the USA Development League and the Team Florida USA organization. And I'm just happy to be a part of it. I'm happy to be a part of good baseball players. Not that I'm saying the baseball players that I have now aren't good, but just at that level and that the magnitude of their value, what they bring to the field, is something that not only am I going to be teaching them, but something that I'm going to be learning from throughout the whole weekend too, so I can bring home, not only help out my kids, but help me out in my future endeavors as well. So it's something that I've came across that was presented to me. Great phone call, great organization. I'll be at IMG for a few days here coming up, working with that staff and getting to know the rest of the roster and stuff like that, and making some good relationships, building some good rapport, and just playing ball and coaching ball this weekend. So as much as I wouldn't be at your wedding, I think baseball is a close second to where I would rather be. If I were not at your wedding, the only other place that I would rather be at would be at a baseball field. And I'm happy that you understand and still my friend.
Well, I encouraged it too. So I told you, yes, don't you dare pass up that opportunity.
Yes.
There's plenty of more time for us to hang out. You never know when an opportunity like this is going to come up again. So Josh, congratulations to you. Well deserved. With that, make sure to subscribe. Make sure to leave us a comment and a like. Congratulate Josh or congratulate me. Either way. Yes. As always, we'll see you next time, which for me will be the start of the MLB playoffs. Josh, we're out of here.
Let's do it. Kablowski out.